listening to 1680 WOKB AM, Winter Garden, Florida.
This is your host, Jay Real from Real Family Talk. We are here live every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. This is Hump Day. Listen to the show and enjoy your Wednesday night. Hello. Welcome to Real Family Talk. This is your host, Jay Real. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday evening. It's lovely in the city, beautiful tonight. A little cool, but put on a light jacket and you are good to go, man. This is great weather. Tell you, man, I love this state, man. You can't beat weather like this. At least we're not up north in Massachusetts where they got a blizzard going on. And then in New York, of course, they got the fake warning about a blizzard, but but they're certainly feeling it in Massachusetts right now. So it's a blessing not to be there and to be here, man. Good times, man. Let's go ahead and welcome everybody in the building. We got an old friend is back in the building, too, and we'll get to him in a second. But Jeremy is in the building. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm good. How you doing? Man?
I'm doing all right, sir. Doing all right. Learned a lot about seafood today.
Yeah, we did.
Good times finding out how much blue crabs cost. I did not know that. Did not know how much blue crabs cost.
And scarce at the moment.
It's hard to find blue crabs in the city. Well, if you go to the right place, Miss McCrae, you can get mediums for like $20 a dozen.
Yeah,
$20 a dozen.
Oh. 20. Well, yeah, 20. Yeah, right.
$20 a dozen if you go to the right place. So, yeah, man, learn something about seafood.
But we're not gonna reveal that place because we need ours. So, to prevent others from going to buying them out, we're going to keep that a secret to next week.
How you doing? Better. Miss McCrae's in the building.
Each day gets better.
You told us earlier you started your rehab today, huh?
Yes. Physical therapy, doing aquatic to rebuild my core and just strengthen my body up again.
Good times, I bet, right?
Yeah. Got to get it right, get it tight. Got to get it right, get it tight.
I got you.
Bay Tour 2015.
Another one?
Oh, man. Well, now that she's pregnant, they say she's pregnant. We'll see what happens.
What?
How are you a fan and you haven't heard all of these thousands of
Why are we
rumors?
Talking about Beyonce?
I'm just saying. There may not be a Bay 2015 tour. So.
No, not that Bay. Like Bay. Like, that's my Bay. I'm on a Bay tour.
Oh, okay.
Never mind. Move on.
I apologize. Wow. I'm sorry.
Woo!
Did you get it? Did you?
I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my bad.
Never mind.
My bad. Mr. King, how you doing, Mr. King?
Oh, my brother. I'm not going on the Bay tour. I'm in the building with Real Family Talk.
That's what I'm talking about, brother. We appreciate that, man.
It feels good to be appreciated.
And like I said, an old friend is in the building. You know him as Rainey B. He is now Pastor Rainey McFadden, though, of course, too. How you doing, sir?
Oh, feeling blessed. Glad to be back with the old team, man.
Oh, man, that's awesome, brother. That's awesome. It's been too long, bro. Too long. But that's all right, man. I
appreciate y'all having me back for the night.
You know you always welcome. There's always a chair for you, my brother. Shout out to Mr. McFadden here, man. We appreciate this, man. Put me on from the beginning. There will be no Real Family Talk without that brother.
That's right.
So if you love us or hate us, you blame that man.
It's all your fault, Rainey. It's all your fault, sir.
If they hate you, I repent.
Oh, man, that's awesome, man. Real quick, man. Of course, it's Super Bowl Sunday coming up.
Who's in there?
The Seahawks and the Patriots are there, man. The Seahawks and the Patriots.
That's right, because I am a Patriot.
He is a
I am from Massachusetts.
Fan. Yes, he is.
The Storm. I have to say it.
So you're going for the ball deflators?
Deflators.
That's what y'all are now. The New England deflators.
The New England deflators. Wow, they got me on that one. As Bill Belichick said, I said what I said. And I'm standing on it.
Oh man, but the New England Patriots, the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I know we got a bunch of, with the exception of Rainey here, we got a bunch of Seahawks fans in the building. Mm-hmm. Is that right, Miss McCray? I assume you're a Seahawks fan. I can't imagine you liking no Patriots.
I used to, but you know,
you were confused at one point in time in your life.
Wow.
The Seahawks.
That was a little.
It was. I'm
Russell
sitting right beside
Wilson
you.
has taken my heart, and I'm hoping that he wins.
That'd be Super Bowl number 2.
Yeah.
What is this? His fourth year in the league?
Yeah,
I believe so.
4th year in the league and potential 2 Super Bowl.
Potential
2 Super Bowl wins. Potential.
Hopeful.
I just want it to be a good game, though.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Like, bottom line, I don't want the Patriots to do to them what they did to the Colts. That's what I don't want. So I want the game to be like the Green Bay and Seahawks game.
I guess everybody's forgetting that 2012 game when they had Tom Brady walking on the sidelines, very upset, and the Seahawks won.
No, that's what I want.
And I don't think people remember. They just remembering the Colts. They're not remembering what happened when they actually played each other, and Tom Brady was cussing out the referees.
That's what I want. I want Tom Brady angry.
Nobody's talking about
Tom.
nothing
Do that about every week,
every game, I believe.
Well,
Yeah.
man, Tom is one of the most likable quarterbacks.
That don't mean he's not. That don't mean he's not cussing.
They've gotten him on film many times saying some stuff.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. So obviously, Rainey, you're rooting for the Patriots. So you expect a big win.
Oh, I'm believing the big win.
You believe in a big win?
I'm believing the big win.
All right. He says it's going to happen. He says it's going to happen.
It's going to be so hot, it's going to melt some of that snow.
Oh, boy.
We will find out, man. We will find out on Sunday, man. Like I said, I agree with you, Miss McCray. As long as it's I hope it's a good game.
Good game.
And obviously, I hope the Seahawks win. But, just at least hopefully it's a good game and not a blowout.
Good game, good commercials.
We're tired of watching. We're hopefully going to get tired of watching by halftime.
Right.
Because they're up by 3 touchdowns already.
Yeah.
Good game,
we'll
good
see.
commercials. And Katy Perry. Yay. No claps.
Not at all.
No Katy Perry?
No.
Not really.
No.
No?
No.
All right.
You're welcome to celebrate on your own.
All right. Hey, Katy Perry.
We'll see, man. This should be good, though. It should be good. So Rainey B's here. I asked Rainey B to stop by and bring us a word moving into this new year, something to think about as we move forward. So I'm going to go ahead and give the floor to Rainey. Go ahead and let us know what's up, Rainey.
I appreciate that, brother. Heavenly Father, Lord God, we bless you and thank you and honor you and worship you and adore you and glorify you. And I thank you for this time and this offering in Jesus' name. You told me to give a word of hope. And I wanted to share with you for this season. There's a lot of pastors at this time actually saying this is a year of this and a year of that. And I truly believe this is the year of hope. I was reading in Luke 3. It said in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, Pontius Pilate being governor of Judea, and Herod being tetrarch of Galilee. Then it goes on to say in verse 4, as it is written in the book of the words of Isaiah the prophet, saying, the voice of the one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord and make his path straight. Every valley should be filled, every mountain and hill should be brought low, every crooked should be made straight, and the rough ways shall be made smooth, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. It was in the 15th year of this leader that took place. This was also in that 15th year where John the Baptist was in the wilderness speaking about Jesus is coming. This is also that 15th year where Jesus himself got baptized and started his ministry. This was the year that salvation started to take place and move forward. People got healed and delivered and set free, and that Isaiah 61 was going throughout the earth. It was this year. So I believe this is also that year, as it already that revolution took place to over 2,000 years. I believe this is a year of hope. And we done seen it, and God done started it. I mean, just look at the gas prices. Look at the real estate dropping. Look at it's like a reset is starting to take place, even in our governments as well. So I truly believe for those who are righteous, those who are seeking the face of God, those who want the heart of God, those who want to be right and stand for righteousness and give God glory, those people will have rest this year. And this is the year where you truly want to seek God. You're going to see him. I love how it says in Romans 5, in his righteousness, there is grace. And in that word grace, he talks about a favor that you stand on. In Psalms 5:12 talks about a favor that you're encamped and surrounded by it. And I'm seeing that for myself as well, as this is the year that God is going to pour out great favor on his faithful. So, and I believe it for Real Family Talk.
Amen.
As well.
Amen.
Amen.
What's the year? How many years you been doing this?
This is going into year number 4 now, actually.
Was it 4? Was it 3?
I thought it was 3.
It was 3 in
I think
November.
it'll be 3 in November, I believe.
It was 3 this past November, so we're moving
Was
into
it?
4, yeah.
Oh,
Was
okay.
it 3 years?
Wow.
Okay.
He
None
said-
of us know. That's sad.
It's been that
And I
long.
mean, he did start it, right?
Wow.
So
Yeah,
that's why I feel where we at this year, man. I truly believe
Amen. I received that.
Me too. Me
I
too.
receiving and believing.
I appreciate it, man. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
that.
We thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for that brief word. Certainly
because
take
I'm
that at heart.
So now I'm a Patriots fan. Y'all gonna kick me out?
Oh, no.
brother. Nah, never that. Never that. We
I'm only
forgive
messing
you.
with you.
We forgive you, man. Forgive them that know not what they speak. You know?
We're not talking about the word.
Stay in the word. not
we're not
not
talking about the
football,
word.
but stay in the word.
Appreciate that, man. 407-894-1680 is the number. 407-894-1680. So, do you want to speak on what you're currently doing too, as well?
Yeah, God has just blessed me to move forward in pastoring. So we at Believers in Christ International Christian Center. We actually use Christ Dominions Church on 3099 Orange Center Boulevard, the Old Hope Church. We have services on Sunday. Fresh new, brand new ministry coming out of another ministry at the Father's house. And I just thank God that after all these years of helping other pastors build ministries and supporting so many pastors over 15 years, being in this, he's called me out, and I just thank God for it, man. So Sundays at 3 p.m., Thursdays at 7 p.m., take the little flock that we have, and we go deep in the word for word, precept, and build upon that. That's our foundation.
Right. I know you're a teacher at heart, so
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there is a lot of discussion going on.
You ain't falling out on the floor until you get that word.
I like that. I like that.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Stay in the word. Stay in the word. All right, man. We're gonna keep it moving here. Again, we thank Pastor McFadden for dropping us that good word. And the topic tonight, we're talking about some documentaries that one was released last year, and then just recently they released another. The first one was called Dark Girls, which came out last year, and then they just released a new one called Light Girls, the sort of opposite to Dark Girls, in the past couple of weeks here. And so I'm going to let Ms. McCray kind of lead this discussion and kind of break down exactly what the two documentaries are discussing. 407-894-1680 is the number, 407-894-1680. As you're going to see, the documentaries are obviously based on women. And so we'd love for you to join in on these conversations and offer your thoughts and opinions as Ms. McCray brings this topic to the table for us. Go ahead, Ms. McCray.
Oh, the two documentaries, they were on their own network, and basically just discussed our colorism issues within our community. Now, we understand that racism is worldwide, but colorism is also a worldwide problem, but specifically in the African American Black culture here in the United States. So we're starting with the Dark Girls, who are, let's go with Lupita and Nyong'o, and then the Light Girls, who, let's see, Beyonce, that range. So mainly it's discussing how each group is treated and how we treat each other. I enjoyed, it made me sad and it made me intrigued. However, both documentaries to me, there's an issue. Colorism is definitely an issue, but I think they both try to tackle way too many subjects at once. So you talk about, they briefly went over where the colorism comes from, because first of all, it comes from slavery, whereas the field Negroes and the house Negroes. The house Negroes were lighter, the brown paper bag. They went through all that stuff. But then you get into how we've taken it with leaps and bounds of how we treat each other. And the light-skinned girls think they're too good for each other. The dark-skinned girls are always angry and mean and jealous of the light-skinned girls and vice versa. And then they briefly talk about guys. And even when the men who were in the documentaries mentioned their preference and that the light-skinned girls are trophy wives and to be taken more seriously, this, that, and the other, and hair color and all that stuff. There was something missing. And then the guys that he chose, I was listening to one of my podcasts, and they were just talking about, they had these young guys, like 19, 20 rappers or something, and they just weren't articulate. It just didn't match the sophistication of what this documentary was supposed to be. So then you had these dudes, his name was Boothang or something. I'm like, wait, what? Not that his opinion doesn't count, but if you're coming from this...
If you're looking for knowledge, Boothang is not the guy you go to.
Thank you. And then they had this comedian and she was considered a light girl. And that's another question. It's who's light and who's not. But this particular lady was like, oh, this dark girl in school didn't like me. And, she was dark and ugly and I was pretty and had long hair. Ma'am, that's the problem right there. You just said it. You just said it.
Isn't that kind of funny though when you hear a light skinned girl, when they speak of this, they always say, yeah, I'm light skinned, and they always mention, and I got long hair.
Yes.
You ever notice that? It's like it go together. Isn't that funny though? That they always kind of say that though. That's just kind of funny.
Probably, part of the allure of or the confusion. It's a part of the confusion because again, when you think light is really a lot of times associated with white, and then of course white is associated with having long hair, and so light, long hair, it's conceptually, even though you may not be thinking about it, that's it makes that connection. It perpetuates the myth, if you will. But go ahead, Miss Ma'am.
It's just a problem. And then it talked about, when I was talking about what is color. So some of the women in the light skin documentary, to me, weren't considered light skinned. To me, I'm like, you're brown. What is that? What about people who are in between? Because my complexion, depending on where I am, I'm considered dark. But then I would be getting, who are you? What are you? For all my life, I've gotten, are you from Trinidad? No, I'm just a plain old good old black girl. My mama from Tallahassee, my daddy from Miami. Like that's it. But it was always, but your skin tone. And you talk so, black.
Well, it goes back to, black. I think, again, it's perception, right? At the end of the day, from the Virgin Islands, you're black. So
you black.
you may be from the Virgin Islands, but you black. You know what I'm saying? So, but it goes back to that perception, because obviously when you listen to you talk and you look at your mannerisms and how you carry yourself, you certainly, quote unquote, don't carry yourself typical. We'll call it that.
Like the others.
Not the others. I just said typical. You're not the when people, the stereotypical black woman, quote unquote, whatever that is. Usually there's a negative connotation behind that, and certainly you are different from that particular mold, and so perhaps that's why they say, oh, well, you got to be something else, because typically
right, which all lies the problem. And then they briefly talked about, now it's a joke where even on Twitter, and I've seen it, team light skin, team dark skin, you acting light skin, you acting like Drake, you acting like Chris Brown, like you acting. And light skin is supposed to be soft or sensitive, all that. It's funny, but it's not funny.
It really isn't. It really is not. I completely agree with you.
You do it.
See, here you go. Pointing the fingers.
You do it. And I'm like,
disagree with it.
Mr. King.
But it's really not that serious, in my opinion. We know we can joke around with certain things, and certain things we can't joke around with. Now, sometimes you put emotion into your jokes and you take it a certain way because we are emotionally driven versus mentally driven, and that be the problem. Once you stop being emotionally driven, we can get past those petty things.
Nice answer.
Thank you.
That's good.
Wow.
Well, let me ask you guys this. I'll start with the men in the room. One of the things they brought up in the documentary was the idea that men a lot of times sort of perpetuate these stereotypes when it comes to women, because sometimes at least men either tend to look at that light-skinned woman as being somehow prettier than the dark-skinned woman. And so you find that a lot of men will kind of gravitate and say, I want that light-skinned girl because this, that, and the other. Everybody has 1,000 excuses why they may want that light-skinned girl. But it kind of goes back to, again, it's kind of sort of perpetuating that light is more beautiful than dark. I mean, which is, when we look at media, it's all over the media. When you're talking about beauty, the media exploits the idea that beauty is somehow created from a lighter hue, we'll call it. And so, again, it perpetuates subconsciously and consciously into our minds. But do you guys, was there a point in your life perhaps, or you've always subscribed to that mentality, or is your mentality a little bit different? And maybe you did the opposite. Maybe you didn't want that light-skinned girl. Maybe you were like, I want, she got to be chocolate for me. Maybe that was your perception. So, guys, what are some of your comments on that?
Go ahead, Pastor Rainey.
Oh, wow.
Men. Guys.
Well, wow. I feel that it's really not in the woman. Let me go back to my child. My first girlfriend, her name was wow, I can go that far back. Her name was Kenya Brown, but they should have called her Kenya Black. She was the darkest girl on the block, the darkest girl in the school. So I grew up with that being my first woman that I was attractive to. Then it got to a point where then I went further north and went to school and dated a light-skinned woman. I can tell you this, in traveling across the United States, I have seen men, black men from the islands, white men. A lot of people do cater to lighter-skinned women. And they look at lighter skin as being more, not so much attractive, but you can take them places and it's more like a trophy type setting. Exotic look. So, and it's a stereotype, but it's just truth.
Well, I think that everybody has their own opinion.
I'm not saying it's truth as in that's the concept is truth. I'm saying it's true that men have this stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
Well, every man has their own opinion, and everybody has their own preference. I feel that women have their own preferences.
Absolutely.
But I'm not trying to dog women, but when it's doesn't look good, it's kind of like, oh well, we're not going to talk about that, or either it's different. Now, men prefer light-skinned women, just like women prefer tall men. That's how it goes.
But that's my question. Why, if that is your preference, I don't know if it is or not, or just offer an opinion. Why do you think men prefer a light-skinned woman? What is it?
What I don't. It's not like a DNA thing, but everybody has a preference. Now, you may prefer somebody tall, but get somebody short because that's who you match with. But I feel that everybody has their own. You know what? That's what I like my steak well done. That's my preference. Now, will I eat it medium rare if that's how it comes? Then, hey, I'm hungry. But, I don't know if that was a good analogy. I'll take that one back. Because I seem like you're just accepting something. But no, I'm not saying that one. What I'm saying is this. Everybody has a preference. Like I say, if you prefer light-skinned people or if you prefer somebody tall, that's just what you prefer. Nobody can dog you or judge you for that.
But you have to look at what she said earlier. It started with slavery, and it's been really programmed in our minds and in our emotions and our heart from that point. And when you watch the TV, when you watch the videos, when you look at the magazines, I mean, it always depicted the light skin or the lighter brown woman in those days. So, and then we had TV shows. When you saw a mean woman or you saw a woman that, had issues, she was always dark and her hair was always rough, and then you look at the white woman, she's light, she's white, and they always had long hair. You look at the Spanish woman, they always had long hair. So it's like it's been programmed in us. And that's where we just drew from. Now, preferences, you're right. Preferences, you have your preferences, but then you always take in consideration
where does that come from.
But I'm a light-skinned man. I'm the only light-skinned one in the room, and I do not prefer light-skinned women. So that's why I have to disagree with what you're saying.
Well, tell me this. Is there a reason why you prefer darker-skinned women?
Because I like the skin. The skin is more silky. I have my own preferences for my own reasons. We ain't getting into that. Okay? We ain't getting into that. But, yeah.
You took it way back.
Yeah, I didn't want to get into that. Don't worry about that.
Wow.
That's what I'm trying to say. I completely disagree. I think it's everybody has a preference. Yeah, the hidden racism is on television. And that's racism at its finest that's hidden that people just don't want to look at and notice. But you still have your preference. You can see Burger King, Wendy's, or McDonald's, and you're going to prefer which one. Now, you can grams, but you still should have your own opinion of what you like.
But see, I think that's part of the problem is that so many, let's say so many, we'll say some of us, some of us, because we aren't, quote unquote, thinking, we aren't critically thinking and really paying attention to what we're seeing. What we see just influences us without us thinking because we aren't thinking. And so it's that subconscious influence of, even when you look at in the documentary, in the Dark Girls documentary in particular, there was a white guy who is a journalist. He's a hip hop journalist. And one of his comments was he decided to marry a dark kind of chocolate woman is what he decided to marry. And what he said in the documentary was he thought it was, what is the word? Kind of funny is kind of my interpretation of what he was saying. But as a journalist, obviously he talked to a lot of artists. He was on a lot of video sets, and so he's kind of experienced that life and dealing with black people. And one of the things that he always found curious is that every time he was at a video shoot, every woman at the video shoot was white or really light skin, and so the darker skinned women were always somehow absent from the videos. So here's these black men, who are doing videos, but everybody in the video, with the exception of them, is either light skinned or white. Yeah. All the dark skinned women are gone. And as a white man married to a dark skinned woman, he's like, what in the world?
Right. Exactly.
Again, it's like I said, it's not so much, that's not a preference thing, that's subconscious. Mm-hmm. Because you're making a subconscious choice when a modeling agency brought you 100 women or however many women they brought you. I'm sure some of them were dark.
What you asked for.
Well, whatever.
Right. Some of the calls she'd say. Yeah.
I'm saying, though, how can
perhaps,
that be?
But that was your preference. So there's got to be something, to me, there's got to be something
a hidden
deeper.
Racism. That's not self-conscious. That's
not subconscious.
That's not subconscious. That's a hidden racism. You put it in there so that the people can see that and be programmed by the television program.
The artist chooses.
No, the artist
and
don't
looking
choose
like
the
Rick
models.
Ross. Yes, they do.
Depending on how powerful you are.
I'm sorry that you have agencies that choose these models.
No, I mean it just depends on who the artist is. Obviously, somebody with some real power, they go call the shots they want to.
But they're gonna call who the one or two. They're not gonna choose every model in the video. No, you have an agency that's choose by your publicist that does that.
Even still, we're still a lot of times. Some of those times, I'm sure that there's some black people with some power that's making a call, And again, they're still choosing these light skin or lighter hue women to be in the video. Talking about preference, though, Jeremy, we didn't hear anything from you on that, sir.
I'm not I like women, man.
I'm glad you said that, bro.
Nice answer, Jeremy.
Seriously, when I say that, man, my brother's been with me, you see like, man, that's a nice looking woman, it may not come out like that, but but and seriously, but I can really appreciate the beauty in like all women, and I'm talking about even moving past black women, I like women, man, I'll tell you one thing though that's really beautiful to me when you and maybe this does play into when you really do see a beautiful chocolate sister.
Ain't it though?
That is beautiful.
Ain't it
seriously,
though?
and I mean, and I'm not talking about with everything the super made up. No, I'm just talking about somebody you look like. Man, she is she is beautiful, and to me that stands out a little more to me.
Yeah.
Gotcha. 407-894-1680 is number 407-894. Again, we're discussing the documentaries Dark Girls and Light Girls. We'd love to hear your opinion on what you thought of the documentaries, any experiences you might have had yourself. Give us a call, 407-894-1680.
I wanted to share with you, I have a little nephew. He's not little no more. He's 13. But watching him grow up from the time he was 9 and started looking at women, he always, for some reason, was attracted. Now, he's dark like us, but he was always attracted to light skin and white women. Mm-hmm. And now that he's 14 now, that's his preference now. Mm-hmm. What geared him from a young age to now to only be attracted?
Is his mother your complexion?
She's dark, yep.
Well, let me ask you, where was he raised? I mean, what's his surroundings?
His surroundings was Boston in the hood.
No.
In the hood.
That's interesting.
Well, I wonder, because obviously, depending on the part of the country you're from, you're typically going to see. There's always a mix.
That's true too.
But depending on the part of the country you are, like if you're down in New Orleans, there tends to a lot of light skinned women that you grow up, that Creole, so the environment certainly makes plays a part in it. But again, that kind of goes back to my point that when you're talking about a 13-year-old boy. Basically, a lot of his learning is going to come from what he sees, and his environment as well. And so when you think about what has he seen, again, it's subconscious for him. I don't necessarily know at that age he's fought out, what my preference is, because he ain't old enough really to have a preference. You know what I'm saying? So he had to see something to be able to develop the mindset that this is what beauty is. And then if his mom is the most chocolatest woman he's seen, she becomes she's mom. You know what I'm saying? She's not beauty. She's mom. You know what I'm saying? Right. Not that she's not beautiful, but she's mom. She's not beauty. And so beauty becomes what he sees. And so when you think about what he saw, like I said, they also talked about in the documentary just our culture of what advertisers obviously pay, and people pay advertisers to educate them on what is going to sell. And obviously sex sells, and so a lot of what we see on television is somehow based around sex. And so what they show us always, or most of the times, is always going to be the lighter hue. That's what they sell us. Every time there's the sexy commercial typically has a white woman. Typically she's going to be blonde, and somewhat figurey, but that's what they show us. And then even when you think about our black stars, our most popular black stars typically tend to be light skinned, especially the ones who kind of get an opportunity to get a leading role. Our biggest black star that has leading roles, it's got to be Halle Berry at the moment. I can't think of another woman that's really got. And we're talking movies now.
It's amazing how now, within the last year or two, you're starting to see a lot more darker women in the movies, but it just started to happen. Most of them was Halle Berry color or, within that. But now we got these black female writers and producers who are producing all these new shows, and they're starting to bring in the black beauty.
Yes.
Right.
Not Hollywood themselves.
I don't agree at all, because I can name Oprah. I can name, that's definitely not light-skinned. You can definitely go with Vivica Fox.
What are you talking about?
I'm just talking about dark-skinned women that are in the industry that's like Halle Berry.
I'm not in the industry. I'm not saying they don't exist in the industry. I'm talking about that or the face of what is beautiful. Yeah.
Like
the face of what is beautiful.
Tyra Banks.
That's why that Vogue cover with Lupita and her winning the Oscar and that whole year last year, and even now, she's everything, and hopefully that will continue and just won't fade away. And not even that they have to be that dark, but just given a chance of the whole beauty of what is black. That's what I think is the best part of being black. The different that we can have different shades, from Lupita to Halle to Beyonce to who's a super light skin, very light. A few of those girls on the show, she did look white. One of the girls. I love that we can be that color. And then for TV, the brown girls are rocking out. You got Carrie, you got Gabby.
Carrie not brown.
She's brown.
No, not really.
What is she?
Light.
Are you?
Light brown.
See, that's what she looks like me.
No,
She's
I would
my
say this.
complexion.
She
Not the
may
way they
be
make
she
her.
may be your complexion,
Not
but
the
on
way they-
TV she's
not-
light
not the way
skinned.
they
Are
make
you
her
serious?
lighter.
What are y'all
They
seeing?
got bright light on her.
I
Yeah,
see
they
a
do got a
brown
lot of brown.
girl.
Hey, all I'm saying,
That's what I don't see a
you can
light-skinned
take it back
girl.
to Saving the Last Dance. She was red.
Oh, he took care of that.
God, see that's the problem too. Well, not a problem, but that's
Yeah, they
the
light,
confusion.
but they light. They'll do that.
What's your thought process and what's light and what's brown? Like, I think that's brown. I think you're brown. I
Well-
think you are brown.
Well, what happens though, you have to remember is, again, because the perception is that a lighter hue is what is pretty. You know, I think when they shoot her, a lot of times the lights are so bright, what her true skin color is doesn't really come across, and she always appears to be something lighter than what she actually is.
Right.
Viola.
Yeah, that's a good example.
They're not lighting her up. They're leaving her just as she is.
She
and it's
is.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they started the show really dark.
I was just gonna say
It
that
was-
show was shot
Oh
dark
my
though.
God, it was shot so dark. It's just now coming to light a little bit more, but
I mean, obviously it was intentional, but
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, she's slaying the game.
How to
Octavia
get away with
Spencer.
murder if you're not sure what they're talking about.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
TGT
But
tomorrow.
do you notice that's been in the
TGIT.
last year or two?
Absolutely. It's
You know.
purpose. Shonda Rhimes is for real.
Exactly.
Her cast,
Yep.
period, are just multicultural. I love it.
But other than that, before the last 1 to 3 years, you did not see no black dark woman as the face
Yeah.
at all.
I hope this is gonna kickstart the change to at least give people the opportunity to see what is beautiful. And when we go back to the color and with men, it never fails. You always see the darkest man with the lightest woman, which then leads to, does he love himself? Is he upset with his own color? So that,
So
and then
he-
you get that, oh, I don't want my children to look like me because I had to deal with, oh, I was the black kid and being teased as the black kid. So I want to choose a light-skinned woman so when we have children, they can
They'll
either be
lighten up.
brown
Right, they'll
or
lighten
balance
up, yeah.
out. So they won't have to go through the pain that I went through.
Right.
Why it just can't be opposites attract?
No. I've actually had conversations with some of my homeboys who are darker than the sweatshirt that I have on.
That don't mean that's
Purposely.
every one of them.
That's a majority.
I got an Uncle Fred that's dark, black, and you best believe he will date. He's just like Jeremy. Okay, he likes the blackest women too. He like them blacker than him. So that's why I cannot agree with nothing that's being
Well,
said.
you have to remember, it's what we're talking about is not 100% true. What we're talking about is that this exists, and it does exist. I think we're lying to ourselves if we don't believe. I mean, why in the world that we because we created it, the brown bag, the paper.
paper bag.
The paper bag test. I mean, but white people didn't create no paper bag test. That was us. We created the paper bag test. You know, we looked at each other and went, "You're a little darker than that paper brown bag." You know, there was a generation of us that told our kids, you know, hey, don't be bringing no dark boys in here. You know what I mean? You know, because the perception was the lighter you were and the more you look white, the more the better off you're gonna do in
You're
society.
gonna be successful. Yeah.
You know,
and better the kid's hair go be.
Exactly, the better kid's hair is going to be. In the documentary, there was a young man whose grandmother, they owned a store, and his grandmother purposely only hired light-skinned people in the store because her perception was dark-skinned people were going to steal from her. You know, so I mean, these things are not. We're not talking about things that don't
that's
exist.
deep right there.
Yeah.
That's
you know?
deep.
And then he perpetuated it. He knew it was wrong in his mind, but because that's why he was trained by his grandmama, he did it anyway. You know, so I mean, these things aren't crazy. We're not crazy. They exist, and no, it's not 100%. And so, yeah, every dark skinned, you know, purple we'll call them, man does not, you know, may not date a light skinned woman because of that reason. But there are some that are exactly what they do. You know, women are the same way. You know, they may not want to date a skinned man because they don't want their babies being, you know, dark chocolate, if you will, because, you know, again, whatever experiences they had or they've heard about, they're trying to avoid their child from going through that. I mean, this is a serious thing. I think it's sad that we still have these thoughts, especially considering it's 2015, you know, but we're still having these kinds of conversation amongst each other. And a lot of it we suppress. We don't really want to put our business in the street. You know how we do. We can't girl, don't be talking about that. They gonna know, but these are things that we're still dealing with, and yeah, I think it's sad that we are, but when it comes to just our progression as a people, these are the things that we have to talk about so that we can get over and actually get to that promised land that we're looking for. It's things like this that are holding us back because we're so caught up on silly things like color. It don't make color.
But even with that, though, it's a world issue, too. So if you go to Latin America, for Latinos, the darker Latinos are discriminated against just like darker black people. Even Indian, my roommate, her uncle, they're all, the Indian look, but he was a darker hue of Indian, and her grandmother would not claim him. To this day, they don't speak. And it's like it's a world problem with color and dark color at that. It's just sad. It's really
that was one good thing I picked up, because they did an interview in the documentary. They talked to a Korean girl, and she talked about how her parents were from Korea, but she was born here in America. I think it was California. She was born. And so she was a little darker, right? She lives in the sun, so she was a little darker. But she didn't look black or nothing like that. But when she went back home, the parents took her home to South Korea, and they were walking around as a child. She remembers a situation where a Korean person came up to the mom and asked the mom, "Did she marry a black man?" Because their perception of the kids, that they were so dark. Again, she was no more than looking like she had a tan.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's about all, so, clearly did not look dark at all, but their perception when they walked into her, because she talked about at that time in South Korea, everybody wanted to be as light as possible. And so to see her as being dark, their perception was, oh, your mom must have, married a black man, which is why you look so dark. When in reality, her mom married a South Korean man,
just the same.
just like her.
That just goes to show the powers of the hidden racism that is worldwide, globally, against black color. I mean, because everywhere you go, you may not know how to speak the language, but black man might be some danger. And that's how they keep it, man. And it's not really what can we do. It's how we going to stop them from these hidden racisms that they put in television and in music. We can't blame ourselves because we are still chained and shackled mentally. But what are we going to do to stop them from doing it?
But I think
that's good.
That's a great question. Unfortunately, because it's a power thing. So unless you have the power to create the change, there's not much you can do about the change. But what we can be is self-evident of the situation and then grow beyond that. Because you can't until you have the ad agency that's getting all of the millions of dollars in business, you can't change what the ad looks like. But you can change your perception of what you believe about that ad.
I agree with Michael when he said what we doing about the change. I think you're seeing it. You're really seeing it. I'm gonna say it again. We done seen the black woman come out because we have black people producing. We got black people writing. We got black agencies hiring black, people to be in certain things. So the change starts with the person who goes out there and make the change. Get inside, and then when you get inside, you can make that change at all. And I believe we're seeing that right now. I truly believe it.
I agree.
It's happening. It's just a slow process, but it's definitely happening. But you see, also media is also taking. They know we're doing it, so they're already prepared to do something about it. If you notice, a lot of ads when the black people started bringing out the black woman, you notice that about 3-4 years ago, the ads switched from the black man with the white woman to the white man with the dark skinned black. It's like they changed their media as well, and actually not dark skinned black woman. They put back the brown woman, the brown to lighter woman with the white man. So, like you said, we have to get in. You can't look from the outside. You got to get in and do something about it.
Yeah, that, and then also what I'm seeing, I'm paying attention to. So it's always well, it was the black man going to get a white woman. Now it's the black man looking for a Kim Kardashian looking type chick.
Yeah.
That is prevalent like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That-
Can we
These
stop?
chicks
Wrap
are
that.
trying to look
Thank
like
you.
Kim
Thank you.
Kardashian.
Please stop
Yeah.
blaming the black man.
It's not the
No,
black
but
man's
it's
rap.
them. But
No.
they're choosing that
No.
look. They're
But we don't-
continuing
But again, we
to
don't
go,
have that power.
What do you mean? You
If
choose who you
wasn't
wanna be
looking,
with.
no, we don't. If you stop wearing the Kim Kardashian look, we won't have the choice of choosing the Kim Kardashian
Really?
look. Yes, women.
I mean, yeah.
Women
I mean,
have
let's
all
be
the
honest.
power.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. I mean,
Women
if-
have
So
all
if
the
we
power.
if they change how they look, then guys aren't going to go look for that type
If
of
the
girl.
woman
what I-
said stop doing this, the man gonna do it.
That's
how it works.
That's what I'm saying. It's like if
'Cause you don't
there's
wanna
a conscious
accept the
decision,
power.
if there's a
Lies.
conscious decision, if women say, you know what, I'm not going to conform or make myself look like something that's on TV and somewhat unattainable. Well, because these days it kind of is unattainable. But if you make that conscious decision and say, you know what, I'm going to be me and love me and carry yourself with confidence. That's the key.
Okay.
Because a lot of women, they have that mindset, well, if I don't look like this, I'm ugly. So when they don't have the weave in and whatever else on, they don't carry themselves with confidence. But as soon as they get them in, as soon as it's that payday Friday, that Saturday night, they walking like they king of the runway. You know what I'm saying? And so, but when they don't have that on, they don't carry themselves like that, and they're thinking they're getting all that attention that one Saturday because they look like. So no, if you carry yourself with confidence, guys are attracted to that. Let me give you an example. And all of us are old enough. We probably all know it's probably been a woman around who maybe not necessarily say the pretty one, but she was real cool, and she was friends with all the guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, you notice that? Because she's how she carries herself.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Confident within
right.
herself.
Exactly. And that's how all the guys are cool with her. Now imagine if a woman who is, what we say is beautiful carried herself in that same way. She could still have a choice of any guy she
Riddle
wants.
me this. When you look across the landscape of black male celebrities, do they look like me? Do they look like your wife? Do they look like your wife? I don't know what your wife looked like.
Denzel?
I'm sure.
Denzel?
This day and age.
They kind of look like me.
I mean, well, to me, I don't see
'Cause
no black
Sam-
male celebrities. That's a black male. That's celebrity. If you outside of Denzel and anybody else.
Kevin.
Come on. And I'm talking about Kanye.
Okay. I'm saying. Well, I
I'm
guess
talking
somebody-
about.
Okay, I
this is
got
what
it.
They
I'm
all
talking
have
about.
exotic chicks these days.
Thank you.
But
That's
this is
all
the
I'm
thing,
saying.
Though. You can't go to the industry.
No,
and-
that's the image, though. We're
No.
talking about the media. We're talking about
But those
what's
are-
out
that's-
in society.
That is
that's,
the industry. The
that's- but
industry
that's
ain't what's
what's-
real. That's Hollywood. That's smoke and mirrors.
that
that's
affects
fake.
reality, though.
So then that's why I'm trying to tell you to stop blaming the men and the women and change the Hollywood, the effect that's what's affecting reality. And that is the problem. We aiming the guns at the wrong thing. We got to aim the guns at Hollywood and be like, man, we ain't going to accept that from Kanye and all that. We ain't even going to support whatever they're doing. And then it'll change the people. But we just can't go to the people and get mad at the people because they doing what they see everybody else doing. Well, we got to stop everybody from doing it so the people won't do it no more.
I disagree.
No. I'm with them.
I mean,
I'm with them
that's like
because
a
we're
drop in the bucket.
I
I know,
hear what you're saying.
But because it's one of them things. It's like we're focused as a society, really, and it's not even black people. We kind of just focused on the wrong thing. We are esteeming the wrong things. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's like, why are we? It's like we are old enough, so we know it's like that's not real. When you walk down the street every day, you don't see that.
But the
And
bigger picture,
if you do see that, when you wake up in the morning, you're not going to see that.
Right. How exhausting that must
I
be.
agree that obviously we have the thought process to see these images and not take and see them for what they are. But what we're not talking about us. We're talking about those behind us is what we're talking about. That's what the influence is those behind us. Those teenagers that for good for whatever reason, that's their world. That's their perception of the world. And then even so that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about us. We're not talking about people who are thinking and who've thought beyond what the world is showing us. We're talking about the people who still live in that world, and most teenagers still live in that world. Most young adults in that early 20s, they live in that world, and their perception is what they see. And so yes, so when you see and you look at your television screen and Kanye, or fill in the blank for whoever you think is great. When that's all that you see from that person, then your perception becomes, this is what I need to be successful. True or not?
When you see it that way, yes.
Thinking of as a young person,
Yeah.
not as how we are today, but thinking as a young person.
Yeah, because they glean from the artists, they glean from the models, they glean from that. So if they see it that way, it's going to be imparted in them. Right. The one thing I do like about the new generation that's coming up is they are making up their own mind now that I don't like that, and they're trying to transition. So I think some of this will fade out in the next generation, because a lot of their shows that are coming out now is showing interracial. Everything is like all coming as one.
Right.
But you always going to have, it's going to take a while for it. It's going to take a while.
And
I think it's going to take just experience in general. I mean, just like, when we were all coming up, we 15, 16. Oh, man, I want that dime. You know what I'm saying? When you don't understand it ain't necessarily substance behind that. But when you start getting older, you start like say, okay, now this is real. This is not real. So, it's like everybody, in due time. In due time.
I think there's going to be a good thing and a bad thing, though, about that, because I think what you're going to see is a lot of dilution of what is, because we're intermixing so much now, as a culture, or as a people, that we're seeing the sort of the mirrors are being blinded as to what is what, and hopefully that leads to a positive change.
I don't understand what you mean. What you mean? The mirrors are blinded to being what is what?
Meaning if, for instance, he talked about how we're seeing a lot of interracial things happening these days. And so the more interracial things we happen, the lines between what is black, what is Asian, what is, they're going to get blurred.
No, that's the purpose. See, that was the reason that God created. I'm sorry, he changed the language, right? So that we all wouldn't be one anymore. So now that once everything gets diluted, we'll realize that we were already the same from the beginning. We may.
And hopefully, I hope that is what happens.
What else could?
But I think what's really going to happen, if we look at history, I think there's going to be a sort of a shift. I don't know how to explain what kind of shift or what kind of new thing that's going to happen, but I don't necessarily know what's going to bring us closer.
Well, the Bible,
I would hope that it does.
What does the Bible say, brother?
But history tells us that it's probably not. And so,
what does the Bible? Because I know the Bible says that when we become closer, that means we all gonna become, like one. And something about it says when everything one, that means somebody gonna take over, and it's gonna be. I think it's already in Revelations, to be honest with you, everything that you're saying. So that's why I'm like, it can't do nothing but do everything that you're saying and become one. And then we'll realize, man, we ain't nothing but 6 degrees of separation. Ain't no such thing as color. Because we already the same.
But what happens in that is there ain't no such thing as color. But what Jimmy is saying is, but we start to lose truth. Mm-hmm. We start to lose foundation. We start to lose what was real. Because everybody now is like, you know what? We make up what we are to be. We make up what we should do. This is how it should be. So that's a whole other discussion as you bring the Bible. But to get back to this is, I think it is starting to come to a point where everybody is separating, and the new generation is coming together saying this is what we want. And they don't believe anymore in our foundation, our understandings, our truths. They really making their own.
Yeah, it's like I think it's going to be a loss of culture. Yeah, culture is going to be blended. In years it's going to be like it's Black history. I mean,
yeah, it's going to be.
But the thing about it is, what is Black history?
No, I mean when I say that, I mean they're going to.
What is if
they're going to ignore
that is the new black it's a new culture that's actually the actual culture versus the culture that you was taught.
I'm
talking
about
the same people that we talk about.
I'm not even talking about the culture. I was talking about the culture I grew up in.
The new black term is a problem within itself.
We're not gonna go there.
That's a good way to end it all, right?
I mean, that's a whole nother show. This whole new black thing, I don't see color.
We're not gonna go
there. Guys.
There's a problem.
It could be 2 hours in and of itself.
But we'll end with this. And Soledad O'Brien, during that Light Skin documentary, said, and I agree, I don't see a problem with color. Color is beautiful. I love that there are white people. I love that there are Indian people, Latino people, black people. The problem comes when there is a problem with that color. Like, it's okay that we're different. That's the beauty of being different humans, and we can learn from one another. The problem becomes when that's a problem that you are different.
Right.
So it's okay to be white, black, Hispanic, Indian, all these things, so we can learn.
That's good.
I think that,
Black.
people try to be, it's all about power. And that's where the whole thing comes in. Which race or which color can be more powerful? And then I think that's when the real problem comes in, because you can't really be racist unless you have power. Like you were saying earlier, it's all about power. So as we was watching in Selma, when the dude had the power not to give Oprah the right to vote, I think that's when you have your problem with different races, when certain races have more power than other races and they try to hold that race down or try to make that race look bad. And I think that's the main problem, the power struggle.
That may be true, but internally we can change our own perception as well, and that in and of itself can be power. Because from your internal perspective, or changing your internal perspective about yourself and what that means as it relates to your environment, that self-esteem that you might get from feeling great about yourself can also change the outcome, I should say, of what you become, and that in itself can gain power, because you can gain power from that situation. So power doesn't necessarily, my point being, power doesn't necessarily have to be what you can produce financially. At this moment in time, power can be your thought perspective on yourself, which can eventually lead to some kind of financial power that you can create.
That's true.
And so changing that internal is so much more important than again, specifically trying to address the cultural situation. It's about us. If we can change our perspective on ourselves first,
right,
then we can really change the perspective of what the world views us beyond that. And so that's why it's all about us, man. We gotta figure out how we can change that perception. We got to figure out how we can truly take that concept of, let's say this, understand the history of where the paper bag comes from, but not be beholden to the test of the paper bag, if you will. If we can change that, that is a first step, because that affects our little girls, it's affecting our little boys. And so we gotta take that out of our culture. And so that we can get beyond that, and so that they can gain power to understand that they too can create a new future that can bring us about some power from a cultural perspective or social perspective. And so again, it's about us and changing that perception. We're winding down here, man. I'll give anybody who wants to have a last comment on this. I got one more thing I wanted to mention.
I definitely got a comment to that, because Brother Rainey has said that when we do make that change, they always be a change ahead. When we made a change to this, they changed to the brown-skinned women with the white men. And when we do make that change that we're making, we have to be very strategizing how we make that change, because they're always a change ahead of us. So we definitely want to watch out for that, because they definitely have the power of the media, of the internet. They have all of the power as of now. So if in Selma, they say we was beaten and broken down, and for generations and generations, what's the point of getting an education if you can't even and what's the point of going to the table to eat if you can't even read the menu? And, they had that power not to let us read back then, and now they have that power of controlling the television and the color skins that we see on the television. So we got to get that power and make sure we keep it, because they seem to always be a step ahead of us to take it away some kind of. We had hip-hop music, and that was a power, and then they took it.
And I agree with you that the key point is teach our kids to get in to make the change, and not to be on the outside taking the change.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And that's what makes the big difference. We got to get in and make the change.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. One last comment here, man. I was trolling the news sites, and the Orlando Sentinel does a foodie awards. I don't know if you're aware of that, but they award the best foods of the year based on readers' opinions and critics' opinions. And I just got to ask, who is eating that Porky's barbecue and a Popka?
What is
claiming that to be
I go
great
ahead.
barbecue. Just trying to figure that out.
Every time I pass by there, all I see is a bunch of motorcycles. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Porkies? I've never even heard.
You never even heard of that?
No.
Yeah, I mean, unless you go through a popcorn on the regular basis, you would never hear of it. But every time I go by there, a bunch of motorcycles and some APD police cars.
Boy.
They actually didn't win. The winner, the readers, they have a reader's choice and a critic's choice. The reader's choice was Four Rivers, and I know everybody says that is the best thing, smoking. I disagree, but
Next
that's
to
what they
Barbecue
say.
Boys.
And then the critic's choice was actually Keller's Real Smoke Barbecue. Never been to Keller's. I guess I got to
Which
go
one is
visit.
that?
They have two locations, one on 434 in Altamont, and then a second location on Lake Emma Road and Lake Mary. So I never heard of that, so
that's
I
why we
can't
never
speak
heard
on that. But and then Bubbaloo's and Sonny's were the backups for the readers, and then for the critics it was Porky's and another place I never heard of, Harry and Larry's. You guys ever heard of Harry and Larry's?
I don't want to eat at a Harry's and all. Don't know. Skin my buffalo.
So it always amazes me that just the choices. Especially, I'm a barbecue guy. I like eating barbecue, but
See, let me
I
tell you,
just don't understand how they never find any good spots as far as I'm
they
concerned.
only go to the people paying taxes. Let me leave it at
That's
that.
it. Exactly. They didn't come through Richmond Heights.
Yeah. They only go to the people
Who
paying
sell
taxes.
outside the
They don't
truck.
check out the buddy that's selling barbecue in front of his house,
No.
in front of the Citrus
No.
Bowl. They
Nope.
don't go
No.
taste his
No,
barbecue.
not that homemade grill.
No.
That'd be the best one.
The folks from Winter Park not gonna go to Junior's
They're not going to go to Junior's.
pickup
Nope.
truck.
No, they're not going to stop on the corner of Raleigh.
No. No.
He done converted his house into a barbecue restaurant.
Come on. That ain't gonna happen.
Not at all.
All right, man. We appreciate y'all for listening, man. I want to thank Pastor McFadden for coming through. Again, man, we'll see you next week. This is WOKB 1680 AM, your urban empowerment and inspiration station.
On WOKB 1680, your urban empowerment and inspiration station. See ya.
My brother, my brother.
You're listening to 1680 WOKB AM, Winter Garden, Florida.